Roger Goodell, NFL commissioner, says he got it wrong and he apologizes. In my opinion, he is still getting it wrong. Hi everyone, I'm Gerard Braud and welcome to this edition of the Broadcast, where we look at issues related to crisis communications and crisis management. And in my opinion, the NFL crisis is going to continue. What was announced today was an apology, which is always appropriate. But behind the apology is a failure of leadership and a failure to make the right decisions. And when wrong decisions are made, more people get hurt, more damage is done to the reputation, more damage is done to the revenue. And Roger Goodell has said he never considered stepping down. As a leader, when you're managing a crisis, everything needs to go on the table. If that thought didn't cross your mind, then it's a sign of someone who is in denial and arrogant in their leadership role, which means they're not actually showing leadership. But let's look at a couple of issues. He got it wrong. Well, did he get it wrong because he changed his mind? Did he get it wrong because he didn't do the right thing until the world saw publicly on video from TMZ what he had already seen privately, or perhaps what he already knew privately? He didn't clearly answer those questions. There's no accounting for where that video is. I still think he should be suspended for 1 year. He said to Sean Payton that ignorance isn't an excuse. Sean Payton, the head coach of the New Orleans Saints, was suspended for 1 year, not because he knew of Bounty Gate in the New Orleans Saints, but because as the leader of the team, he should have known. So without being a hypocrite, that means that Roger Goodell should resign. Players, coaches, all need to participate in the process of determining equal punishment for players with certain offenses. That's a good step. One of the things that disturbs me is that he is trying to use smoke and mirrors. Roger Goodell is trying to use smoke and mirrors by bringing in all of the anti-violence training. Sure, it's an important issue and nobody is in favor of it, but let's be honest, the good guys don't actually need to go through the training. What we're seeing here are a few bad apples that need help, and my expectation is that violent people need more than a couple of training classes to get out of their violent behavior. I will also say that there was not the proper apology to players who had already been punished, who were then thrust into the spotlight, and their teams were thrust into the spotlight, and their sponsors were thrust into the spotlight, all because Goodell, from a crisis management and crisis communication standpoint, didn't do the right thing the first time. To manage a crisis properly, to be a leader, you've got to do the right thing the first time. If Goodell had handled Rice correctly, then there wouldn't have been Adrian Peterson being put in the spotlight. There would not have been a spotlight on the Minnesota Vikings, and their sponsors like Radisson wouldn't have to pull out. In a crisis, reputational damage and revenue damage are the things you have to focus on, as well as good, ethical, and moral decisions. You got it wrong. Thanks for being part of the broadcast. I'm Gerard Braud.